Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's business clinic. I want to warmly welcome everyone for availing their time today. Today, we're going to be having an amazing session, and I'm sure we all are looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it, and it's down to what every business needs. It's down to increasing sales. We've got somebody who I consider quite an expert in this area, and somebody who has got a lot of experience in helping businesses grow their scale, grow their sales. And she's no other than Napa Onwusa. Napa Onwusa is a technology leader with over 20 years of experience in numerous blue chip companies. She is an entrepreneur, an angel investor, and human welfare champion. And since 2020 November, Napa has been a sales leader for Google and Google Africa, actually. And she's been able to drive business growth for a cross section of businesses and startups on the continent. Prior to Google, she held leadership position at Visa, at Nokia, SAP, Cisco, Microsoft. Napa has facilitated and sat on several policy committees and workshops, including the United Nations General Assembly in 2020. Napa is a graduate of the Enugu State University, where she got a degree in computer engineering. She has an MBA from ESUT Business School. Napa sits on the board of Jeremiah Hope and Faith Foundation and Chuziah, plus others. She is a mentor in female-run businesses through the Army Grace Foundation. So without further ado, because I know we are running out of time, I would want to make welcome Napa Onwusa as she takes us on today on a topic which is 5 ways to 10 times your sales. So how to blast your sales results. Over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Mara. And thank you for presenting. I don't know what's happening to my connection. So I'm joining with my phone. So everybody, please bear with me. I still hope we will have a really interactive session. So if you start in any of these kind of sessions I've done before, I really like it to be interactive. So stop me at any time if you disagree with something I've said. I really like to be challenged, or if you feel that there's something I'm not capturing as well as I should. So if you've noticed, I've joined with two connections. It's just because one is really acting up, and I do not really understand why, but we will start. Now, a question to you all. How many times have any of you seen this phrase? 5 ways to 10x your sales, 10 ways to blast your results. I don't know if anybody can put in the chat if you've seen it before, if you've heard it before, if it's something that a lot of people on social media use to kind of get you to buy their product or to buy their ebook. Any comments in the comment section? Dr. Amara, are there any comments that, Olufunke says several times. Thank you so much. Popular, yes. So you guys are my people. You know what we're talking about. They'll tell you that if you follow these steps, you're going to blast your sales. So this is a very common line that salespeople use to get you to click on a link to buy something or for you to attend a course. So just give me a minute. I'm trying to see if I can join with my laptop just so that I can view the comments better. Apologies, team.
So whilst we're waiting for our guest today to rejoin, it it would be great if those who are on the call can post their comments, and also if you can, please put some questions. And I'm sure we've got lots of entrepreneurs or business owners right here on this call. If you can just put your questions ahead of time, or maybe in the course of our guest covering or going through her slides and you've got questions, please just pop them on the chat, and I'm sure she's going to take that as she presents.
Okay, so that's fine. All right, so thank you so much for that, Dr. Mar. So on the next slide, the reason I think you should really listen to me is because I have consistently 10x growth, not actually 5x. I've actually 10x growth, and I've led teams in Microsoft, Cisco, Nokia, SAP, and Google. In fact, there was one of the teams in one of these companies where I came in and we were growing at 32% year over year. And in less than 18 months, we started growing at 80%. And with a forward projection of hitting 120% in 2 years. Now, if you know these companies, you know the starting point were really big numbers. It wasn't like $1 million or $2 million. These were multiples, hundreds of millions of dollars that we were 10xing in terms of sales. And I am coming here today to share my experience. So I'm not going to say go and harass your customers for money, or whenever you're selling, make sure you get your money back. I am walking through the process I walk through, and I have walked through in my experience to grow my business. Because in all the roles I've been responsible for, I have been either leading teams of managers or managers of managers, or leading teams of salespeople. And I have to be able to drive the strategy within the team to drive results. And that's the reason why I use that experience to help companies to be able to 10x growth. So really, if you follow what we're going to go through today, you're going to increase in your sales. This is a true story. How much you increase now depends on the first thing we're going to talk about, which is your product. So going on to the next slide, in terms of what we're going to discuss is your product, which is the most important thing. So there's a reason why Google, for all their platforms, they have over 1 billion users per platform. That's mind-blowing. It's because their product is the right product and it's in the right market. So I hope when we go through the first part, you're going to look at the product you're selling or the service and see whether it makes sense. Now, once we do that, we're now going to look at your customers. And people talk about finding customers, etc., and so forth. And that's very important. But there are two things I see that supercharge sales, and that's customer feedback and adapting to feedback. That's two of the things that help you sell more. And then we're going to talk about selling itself, and then we're going to talk about your sales channels. So I know we don't have a lot of time, so it's going to be a high-level view. But if you do need any more information, please talk to Dr. Amara. Or if you feel I'm going too quickly, stop me and ask questions. For real, if you think that what I'm saying doesn't make sense, challenge me, because even though I'm the one presenting, I do want to learn from everybody in the room as well. So team, are we good to go? If you could give me a thumbs up or an emoji, encourage your sister out here with bad internet, suffering jet lag. Encourage me with a nice emoji so I can feel that I'm not talking to a screen on my phone. Oh, please, let me feel a bit of the love that's in the room. If there's love in the room, oh, hey, thank you, Neka. This is your clap and high five, man. I love it. Olufoke, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. So we're going into the first part, and that is the product or the service. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you for the clap. You know, you guys don't know what it's like when you're presenting and nobody's camera is on, and then you're there smiling, you've put lipstick on, you know, gospel, thank you. So it's very nice when you engage, and even if your camera is not on, ask questions in the chat. So we're going to talk about the product now. And thanks, Jide. So on to the next slide. The product is the most important piece. There's something I say. A lot of people build products or services that absolutely nobody asks for or absolutely nobody needs. I don't know if you guys have been following a lot of the news that's been coming out of the startup space over the past few months. A lot of startups are beginning to close down because they don't have growth plans. Their product, they don't have the customers. Sometimes some of them had products that were for a season. So I don't know if any of you know Peloton. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It was an exercise bike that was so popular in the pandemic because so many people couldn't go to the gym. And then the Peloton, great music, they had visuals. So people bought, I think they grew 200% year over year. It was incredible. They got a lot of investors. But in that pandemic, something they should have, yes, it was so popular in COVID. Oh my gosh, it was featured in TV shows. Everybody was talking about it. Then you know how it is when a company starts to feel themselves. Their ads were now feeling as if, do you ever feel like you can go out? And you know, all those kind of, they're feeling themselves. But they didn't innovate during COVID because after the pandemic, people wanted to go back to the gym. My husband goes to the gym. He feels working at home is not the same as going to the gym, feeling people around you, being motivated by other people and all of that. So now Peloton actually now has started to downsize. And we're also seeing it with Zoom. Zoom projections are not what they used to be. So your product or your service has to be a product that solves a problem, but a problem that will continue to exist. So that's why you see Google Workspace doing so well. Google Workspace is just a collection of Google Docs, Google Excel, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. And the reason it's so popular is because when I'm on my document, I want to be able to collaborate with somebody else. It's something that you really need. And the pandemic actually accelerated the adoption of their product because it was made to be able to allow people to collaborate across the world. Then you look at tailors, for example, people that are fashion designers. There's a fashion designer I know, and the reason I love buying from her is because she has ready-made fabric, ready-made designs, and you pick and you match the fabric you want to the design. And then she sends you the design, but if you want to change it, she'll change it for you. I don't know how she covers the cost, but it's almost like build your own dress. So the design is there, and then you just put different fabrics on it. This is something that's a problem for me. The product is for somebody like me because I may like a style, but I don't like the fabric. And I just want to test and see those different fabrics. It's also like a baker. Many of us are trying to live healthier now. We don't want to be having high calorie, high sugar treats. And you decide you want to come in with a healthier option because we're seeing an increase in cancer, increase in heart attacks. We're seeing an increase in real health situations that bad food is causing. So you are solving a problem. So your product, if you can, look at the product or service you have now. What problem does it solve and who does it solve it for? That's the thing you have to think of. So you see, what I see with a lot of founders when they come to our consulting company, I have a consulting company with my partner, Unini Campbell. When we have the first discovery meeting, what you hear is, I'm building a Facebook, or I'm building clothes for the working woman. Are you really solving a problem? Is it a service that you know that there's a particular group of people that it fits? Now, if you say you're solving, you're creating clothes for a working woman that works in tech, but doesn't want to look like a tech bro. So it's a very specific aesthetic, and you have people. So this is an example. Then find a product or service you're passionate about. I had a meeting with somebody. I just came back from the States, and there was a meeting that was set up with somebody that wanted to pitch a product to our company to consult for. So do you know how he pitched it, guys? He said, Napa, what will make money for me? I said, wait a minute. That's not the kind of consulting we do here. That what problem are you trying to solve? He said he's trying to solve his poverty problem. that is the problem. So he wants a product that will solve his poverty problem. And I said, no, that there has to be something other people think it's important. So he's not passionate about anything. He's just passionate about money. There is no way we can work with him because the product he has is not solving any problem. And all he's looking for is just multiply money for me. So we put some ideas in front of him. And all he kept on asking was, how much? How much? How much? Can you see? So look at your product and service, make sure it's something that makes sense, and then capitalize on trends early. This is something I see all the time. I don't know if all of you remember when everybody that was of a certain age on WhatsApp was selling wigs. Does anybody remember? When you go to your WhatsApp stories, wigs, 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 there was nothing differentiating the type of wig, the quality of wig, there was nothing. And people came into the market so late. So they were buying from people that started in the market very early. So there are many trends that are coming out post-COVID. Travel is one of these trends. People are looking for easier ways to manage documentation when they travel. There are trends that are coming out with health, of course, because after COVID, many people are now more conscious of their health. There are many trends coming out from remote work. I see some companies addressing the new remote workforce. There are companies now that want to know where my employees are all working, instead of me paying one person and the person is in 3 jobs, right? So look at the trends that are happening and make sure that your product is not only leveraging the trend, but remember, it has to solve a problem that isn't just for today. Okay? So I don't know if there are any questions before we now go, because we're still in the product or service slide. So just drop your questions. The new trends in fashion as well. Oh, Dr. Amara, do you want to share? Please, I would like it to be collaborative.
Yeah, I think with the whole COVID situation, people working from home and then now coming back, people are looking for more sustainable ways to dress up and still feel comfortable even whilst going to work. So it's about, how can you mix the business with the casuals? And, now there are a lot of trainer trends as well. And you see kind of smart casuals and things like that now. Yeah.
No, that's so true. And you're seeing a rise of backpacks. Women are using rucksacks to work instead of the fancy big bags. So, I mean, there's a Nigerian handbag maker that does those kind of casual work that I actually want to look at instead of carrying those formal bags. I find after COVID, wearing high heels is very challenging for me. I don't know if any other woman on this call is feeling my pain, but the thought of heels, it's hard. Like if I can wear sneakers or slippers all the time, that's what I will do. So there's so many trends that are coming out, and look at your product and look at the trends that are emerging in this post-COVID world, and start looking for how to adapt your product in a way that it's more sustainable. So on to the next slide. So once you found your product or service, you need to be able to deploy it into the market. And I use the example of Uber because Uber, when Uber first came to Nigeria, people didn't think it would succeed. But Uber targeted because they had a great product that solved a real problem. But Uber targeted the right market. They didn't target people that were waiting on the roads for buses. They targeted people with smartphones. So you would think that when they're doing their market survey, they would go into the people that stood on the road or stand on the road, and they'll be like, how can we make transportation easier for you? They will say, make sure the buses have windows. Make sure there are enough seats in the bus. That's not the feedback you want, because that's not your target market. So once you found a product that solves a solution, you need to find market fit. And Uber understood that they needed to target people with smartphones. And that's exactly what they did. And when they came into the market, a lot of the services they had when they started were very simple services. You could book the ride, but now you can do ride sharing. Now you can do Uber. Do we have Uber Eats in Nigeria? You can order food with Uber, right? Like you can do deliveries with Uber. But when they came, they weren't like that. So what they did is they chose the right market for their amazing product that solved a problem, and they launched it with the least amount of features to test it in the market to get feedback. So let's go on to the next slide, please. So this is exactly what I said: right product, right market. Ask the right questions to the right market. Now, Dr. Amara said that fashion is changing. The aspects of fashion is more comfort, leisure wear is coming up. We saw Kim Kardashian launch a very successful leisure line. Beyonce launched a very successful leisure line because they got early. They anticipated the trend that more and more women were valuing and prioritizing comfort over fashion. So what they did is they mixed it together and they gave you a comfortable, fashionable line, and then they launched it into market. So if somebody is trying to do a smart casual line, you don't go and ask somebody that runs a startup for that, like a tech bro or somebody that is in front of the computer. That's not your market. Your market is that woman that was extremely trendy before COVID, got very comfortable in her sweats, and she's now looking for, how do I now come back to work being as comfortable as I was, but looking as great as I did? So you have to look for the right market. And there are questions you can ask. This is why it's very important to release your product in small phases so that you can test and then roll back if it's not right. So I've already given the example. Imagine if Uber targeted people that use buses and not people with smartphones. But guys, can you see it doesn't make sense? You're launching a ride sharing app. You're not asking people that share rides. You're asking people that have mobile phones. And most people that have those kind of smartphones may have access to transportation. But you have to really think very critically about where the people that use your product are, who they are. And there's a great exercise you can do. I do it a lot. It's personas. We don't have so much time today, but I usually ask you to sketch out, when you were thinking of this product, who is the kind of person you are thinking of? You could have 3 different personas. So for example, if you have a shoemaking business, you could say, really, I was targeting people with large feet, or I was targeting middle-class Nigerians, or I was targeting people that wanted to be able to distribute, for example, and you just build personas around them. So you say, my large-footed woman, she goes online, she never finds her shoe size, she searched online, she buys from Amazon.com and she ships it in. It's so much stress for her. So what I need to do is to find her and say, would you try my product and see if the quality fits the quality you normally get when you buy outside? And the reason I'm saying this is because I wear a US 13, guys. I hope this is not being live streamed though, because I will deny it. I'll say I'm a cute 8, that I wear size 8 shoes, okay? But I wear 13, my brothers and sisters, and it's very challenging to find my shoe size. So for me, if you make shoes for women that have large feet, I am your market. I am your persona. Now, what kind of person am I? You know, what kind of shoes do I wear? That's how you find a right product and fit. So when you start pushing out your product, you're targeting these people. Dr. Amara said I'm broadcasting it too. Okay, so it was a verbal typo error. Anybody listening, I wear cute size UK 8. Okay, so on to the next slide. So this is something that I live by. We must learn what customers really want, not what they say they want or what we think they should want. And this is why when ATMs came into Nigeria, for those of you that were born then, no. For some of us, it wasn't so long ago, but the feedback was always that Nigerians will break into the ATMs and steal the money. I don't know how many of you remember that. Everybody said it. They said, "Are the banks crazy? You will put money in a structure, and then people will put their cards in and take money." How many ATM frauds do we hear about on a daily basis? They're almost non-existent, because what the banks did is they learned what the customers really wanted. They wanted accessible and easy access to cash. And now there's a secondary market that we're seeing. How many of you know POS vendors? So POS vendors are everywhere. They don't even want you to get to the ATM. And the funny thing is, the secondary market is based on a primary market that everybody said would be fraudulent. So you have to learn what your customers really want. And I'll give an example here. There's a company we're consulting for, and the product they have, they deliver to your doorstep no matter where it is in Nigeria in 3 hours. No, these guys do it too. They deliver to me in an hour. But guess what? None of their customers cared about speed. For the kind of product they had, the customers just wanted the product. They wanted it to be available and to come to them on a particular day. That was it. So if they ordered it today, they didn't mind waiting 2 days, so long as it was available, because they were ordering products that weren't easy to find in the market. So based on the feedback they were getting from the clients, they now stopped talking about convenience and they started talking about access. And that increased their sales because they positioned their product correctly to the right market. So I ordered from them once and they were like, "You got it in 3 hours." And I was like, "I don't care. All I cared about is that you found it for me and you delivered it to me." But again, there's another company, and we're not consulting for them, so I can talk about them. They do this great banana bread. They deliver to you on the island, like from Lekki all the way, from Ajah, I think, all the way down to VI or wherever. within 30 minutes, and then on the mainland within 1 hour. But see, the bread is hot. So now for that, see, when that banana bread hits our house, you have to make sure you're close to the door. Because if you are not, by the time you come down after 10 minutes, the whole loaf is gone. It's delivered hot. Now, for that business, speed is very important. It's very important. So I order with the confidence that the bread is coming in 30 minutes. So when we're having breakfast, we decide we want to add banana bread. You can, while you're doing other things, you just order your bread. So you must learn what your customers really want, not what they say they want or what we think they should want. So these two companies were listening to their customers about their product, and they were able to change quickly to deliver to the customer what they wanted. So, and this is just a validating learning loop. What it means is that when you build your product, you make sure that you're getting feedback from your customer. So you're learning how to adapt your product and change your product to suit them. And I've already given 2 examples. Okay, so now we have a great product. I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the action I would advise. I talk about this book all the time. I've read this book, I don't think less than 3-4 times. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. It's a fantastic book because what it shows you is how to build a product with the smallest amount of money required and how to test that product so you can make the product better. This is what I see with a lot of early stage founders and startups, is that you want the product to be complete. I wish some of us could see what Facebook looked like on day one, or what Instagram looked like on day one. It wasn't a full, complete product at all. It was a product that they were still shipping out to the customer. Well, do you like this? Should I put the like button here? Should I put the like button there? There's something people say a lot when Instagram starts looking a bit weird. They say Mark is at it again. That's Mark Zuckerberg. They're testing something. So what they're doing is, if they put the like button there, did the likes, the click button there, did more people click or less people click? That is what this is about. It's just making sure your product, you're testing it. So if you have a particular line of designer wear, or you are building an e-commerce platform, release test a particular feature. Let's see how people respond, and then you come back and change. Okay, so we finished with the product. Our product is a great product. It solves a problem. Our product is also, we're very passionate about our product. We're not like that my customer that was saying the problem it's solving is poverty for me. You're passionate about your product. You've positioned your product to the right market. You're asking the right questions. So this means that we have a great product and we have people we can sell it to. Okay. Now, how do we now position ourselves with our customers? So we've done product and we're now moving to customers. And they say customer is king. And I just say customers are the ones that buy your products or services. Because customer is king can tend to sometimes be a bit toxic, because you can't now tell your customer, give your customer feedback as well if they are not really acting right, in a way that's very polite and respectful to your customer. But your customer is the person that you have seen is in market for your products or your services, and you have to find them, right? So moving on to the next slide, we're going to do a nice exercise. We're going to vote, and we're going to vote in the chat box. As many of you that are in Nigeria, I hope you have your PVCs. As many of you that are in America, I hope you vote for midterms. And as many of you as the UK, congrats on your 3rd PM. Congrats. And I don't know what other countries everybody's calling from, but we're going to vote. Okay, so these are our 3 candidates for our vote. The first one is Burna Boy. I think if we go to the next slide. Burna Boy. The second one is Davido, and the third one is Wizkid. I want you to vote for who you think is the greatest of the 3. Burna Boy number 1, Davido number 2, Wizkid number 3. Guys, are we voting? Okay, so we have 1 vote for Burna Boy. Anybody else? One, 3 Davidos. 4 Davidos. Hey. Anybody else? So who said Davido all the way? Can you come off mute and explain why you feel Davido is the greatest of these 3? We have one whiskey though. But Davido is the it seems Davido has won this election, Sha. Please, who mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm using my phone so I can't really see, but who mentioned Davido all the way?
It's me, Nika.
Okay, Nika, why? Why do you think it's Davido all the way?
Because I just love his vibes. I just love his personality.
So you're very passionate about it, about Davido?
Yes.
So
I don't mind whatever he sings.
Even with the frog voice?
I don't mind whatever he sings.
Okay. Nick, I think
I don't mind. So long as
okay. So who
whatever he sings, whatever, just so long as it.
I don't know if I'm the only one that's struggling a bit to hear Neka.
I think it's a connection.
Oh, Neka. But from what Neka is saying, you can hear the passion in her voice. Even if Davido comes and sings 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, sorry, forgive me. 1, 1, 1. You know, he has a frog in his throat. For all you Davido fans, I'm a fan as well. Before you guys crucify me, because Davido fans, they can be serious. So who voted for Wizkid? Please, can you state your case for Wizkid? I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. So who voted for Wizkid? Defend your champion.
I think it's Chiemela that voted for Wizkid. So Chiemela, do you want to come off mute, please?
Yeah, please.
Okay, it was actually I who voted for Wizkid. I was just impressed by the numbers he's been generating from his tour. Like, it means he has a lot of fans. I particularly rarely listen to their music, but when it comes to the business aspect of their music, that's where I get interested too.
Oh, I like that perspective. Gospel said, I really like your perspective from a business standpoint. Gospel said from a marketing standpoint, Burna Boy. So Davido got the most votes, but in this, there's no democracy here. So get your PVC so you can make your voice heard in February. For those in Nigeria, for those in the UK, God be with you. So we can go to the next slide. Because it's not a democracy, I put in Burna Boy. And I put in Burna Boy just because he's international, but Davido is international, Wizkid is international. And really, we've been really blessed to have 3 powerhouses come out of Africa. And these are not the only ones. There's so many coming behind them. But did you guys notice how you sounded when talking about the people that you wanted to vote for? You were very passionate. In fact, when Nneka was talking, Davido could literally sing nonsense and she would listen, because that's how much she's invested in Davido's music. This is your goal, is to make sure your customers are not just customers, they become your fans. Because once they're your fans, they will talk about your product wherever they are. That way you feel, I've seen people come into fights with family members or friends when they're debating who is better, Davido or Wizkid. Then every few weeks, I don't know if you guys see it, or every few months on Twitter, there will now be another debate, who is better, Wizkid, Davido, Wizkid. Then Burna will just appear from nowhere and say that I'm the best, I've done this, I've done that. And their fans are the ones that will be fighting. So you need to convert your customers to fans. Even though you have a great product, you've put it in the right market, your customers need to feel connected to your product. And the way you do it is you celebrate your customers. That's the first way. And I've seen this where I've bought products from consumers and from sellers, and they don't follow up with me. They don't celebrate me. And sometimes I buy from some companies just because of the way they treat me. If there's a new product coming out, they will let me know early. On my birthday, they'll send me a discount. And it's so easy to keep track of birthdays now with MailChimp and Facebook. They give me a discount code. When I purchase, they will ask me for feedback. You need to celebrate your customers. And you've seen people that when a customer has hit a certain number of sales, they will put a picture out there and then they'll give them a gift. That is how you make them feel. And this is how Burna, Davido, and Wizkid treat their fan bases. We are their buyers, we are their customers, and the product is their music. So what they do is that when you see, sometimes they'll do a giveaway. Have you guys noticed? They do a giveaway for their, in quotes, loyal fans. Sometimes they'll retweet something from a fan. The fan will go crazy. Oh, I can't believe Davido retweeted my tweet. Davido gave me 150K. They're celebrating their customers. We are their customers. But remember, you want to turn your own customers into fans. And then I've already spoken about reward loyal customers with early access programs. So if there's something you're doing that's new, let your loyal customers know about it first, because you want your customers to feel like they own the business with you, that product is with you. We call these kind of customers early adopters. They're very important to your business because they're the ones that will tell their friends. There was this product I came across. It's a fintech, and I was in the pitch where they were pitching for funding. It's a great app. And I had a problem with sign up, and I reached out to the founder. He made sure it was resolved, and the product is so great. But that customer service I got, I'm an early adopter, adopter of the product. That early customer service, everywhere I went to Enugu for an event in Nigeria. And when I went, I think I told like maybe 15, 20 people about the product, just because I was just so excited with how it had been handled, how they had treated me. And then number 3, which is the most important, ask your customer for feedback. And we're going to talk about automation, how to make these things easier for you. Because if you have 1,000 customers, it's challenging to always ask each of them when they buy your product. But it is important. So there should be feedback forms, there should be support forms. So there was an organization that has a factory, and one of the factory workers had been consistently rude to the founder's customers. But the founder had no idea. It was a customer that called because the customer was an early adopter and was telling the founder that, see, your client, your employees has been really, really rude to me. And she didn't know. And I told her that you have to have feedback loops. There should be a form on a link on your site. There should be a WhatsApp number that they can use. I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yes, please.
Oh, wonderful. I just saw Dr.
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. So thank you for that, Taneka. Thanks, guys. So you have to get customer feedback. When your customer buys something, let there be a link that they use to give you feedback. Because remember, in the product, remember what we said, you measure and then you learn from the measurements and then you change your product. The only way you can make your product more and more suited to your customers is if you're hearing what they're saying. So if one customer says, I don't like the product being, maybe the bread, I don't like it with almonds inside and raisins, maybe that's a way for you to now create another product that fits that customer, and you give it to the customer. The customer says, yes, this is exactly what I want. Then you now start looking for other customers like that customer. So there was a bakery I was consulting for, and this was the problem they had. The girl said that some of her customers said her bread was too sweet, too sugary. And I said, okay, do all your customers say this? And she said, no, just a particular set of customers. And I said, so why don't you just bake a different type of bread with less sugar for those customers? And she was like, are you serious? She didn't think of that. I said, yes, that's where customer feedback is so important, because they help you increase your number of products. By the time they keep on asking, no, we want this, you want this, you try it, you test it. If it works, you now start looking for other customers like them that will like it. And then invite customers to special events. This is, if it's not your event, then if it's not your event, you can invite them to other events. And then you can offer a referral bonus or reward for recruiting new customers. This happens a lot. Affiliate program, get 20% off when you invite 5 other customers to your group or your product. So inspiring long-term loyalty starts with a smart plan and great after-sales support. So make sure your customer is happy. So somebody had a question. I'm joining from my phone, so I can't read it. Please, if you can just come off mute and ask the question.
Okay, she's saying, what if 20 customers want 20 varieties that isn't viable? What do you do?
Okay, is this a real situation that's happening with you now?
Neka, is that a real situation for you?
Hello, Ma. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can.
Okay. It's I recently I expanded to another product, which is honey. And
Okay.
then I find a situation whereby some customers want little sizes. Other customers want lighter version. As in they feel this one is too thick. Why is it not light? And when you try to explain to them that this is how some of them the adulterated ones. They don't want that. I don't know how to that needs. You know deep down that it is not possible, it is not viable, except you want to go down with your quality. What do you do in such cases?
Okay, so you don't compromise quality, right? However, if you what I would advise is that look for something that more than one customer is asking for. So if it's only one customer, what you can say is that it's in your roadmap, that you're thinking and strategizing internally and you are planning towards it. And you are planning. Planning doesn't mean that you're going to do it, but you're planning because you need to make sure your customers feel like they're heard. But if you have, out of all your clients, 5 are saying, can it be lighter? I don't know if you've seen some of the honeys they sell in America or some of the maple syrup. You know, they have the light version, LITE. Have you ever seen that? So just look, I'll if you can go online and go to Google, you check, there's an LITE version. So if I pour maple syrup, the original version is very thick, very, it draws and all that. It's a lot, but the light version pours thinner. It doesn't mean the quality is different. It just means that you're catering to a different audience. Yes. So, Neka, if your own business doesn't do processed honey, then, and you don't plan to ever do that, then what you need to do is to explain to the customer. But if you would consider having an organic processed honey line, so you're processing it, but you're processing it in a way that you don't strip out the nutrients. If that is possible, then you can position it to your customers. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the feedback that your customers give you, it doesn't automatically mean that you are going to implement the feedback if it's outside what you have planned for your product or service. But it's very important to listen to the customer and see if they are trying to make you create a new product that might be very successful. Do you understand? Because you are saying that deep down they know. Remember what we said is that you give customers what they want, not what they think they want, and not what they say they want. So it's to sit down with the client, the customer, and say, is it that when you pour it, it's too thick, or is it that when you mix it, it's too much? So maybe you can have organic thinners for your honey, if that makes sense, Neka. Okay, so we'll move on. We don't have much time. But Neka, you can DM me later so we can talk about it. Yeah. So I think Neka's question has already highlighted this slide. Why customer feedback is gold. It helps you choose the market. So when your customers are constantly giving you negative feedback about the product, Neka, for example, it might be that you're in the wrong market. Maybe it's to look for a partnership with iFitness because people that are into bodybuilding or health are very conscious of not using processed things. So your customers, if you keep hearing negative feedback on your product or change this, or they are to identify the market. That's the first thing. The second thing is they help you expand your product service offerings. So we've just said it, that if a customer keeps on saying this, and I'll use your example again, I want the honey to be lighter, you can actually have an LITE version that is organic. And maybe that doesn't exist in the market. And you test it with a few of your customers. If they like it, then you now tell them, look, if you can bring 5 more people into to buy this, I'll give you 20% off your next order. those kind of things. So they help you expand your product and service offering, and then they help you develop new marketing strategies. So by the time you have new clients that are asking for a specific thing, Eneka, I'm sorry, this whole slide, we're going to use your example. So maybe you've always marketed as organic, very straight, not processed and all of that. Because you may consider doing a light version, you're going to have a new marketing strategy to address those people. And then we already spoke about customer personas. So instead of having only one customer that likes organic honey, you have one type of customer that likes organic honey, another one that likes organically processed honey, and then another one that likes it in a smaller container, a mid-size, a large, those kind of things. They help you expand your product, but also have new customer personas. And I've already said it, enhance current offerings. Okay, so the action, I think the next slide is action. Okay, so yeah, this is a perfect example of customer feedback. I don't know how many of you, when you finish an Uber ride, the first thing Uber, once you're done with the ride, they ask you for feedback. They will say, rate your driver. And then they ask your Uber driver to rate you as well. Was the passenger good? Because when you put in that feedback, so you say that the driver spoke too much, it disturbed me. And Uber now starts seeing a lot of customers are complaining about drivers talking too much. They will take action. And the next slide gives an exact example of this. So when Uber came to Nigeria, Uber around the world then only took payment by credit or debit card. And in Nigeria then, if cash is a thing with us. We always want the option to be able to pay with cash. And if you look at this, once Uber was in Nigeria for some time, remember, they launched a little, they were taking feedback. One of the feedback they kept on getting from Nigerians was Nigerians wanted to pay with cash. See how they shaded also. They said, for those who like to pay the old-fashioned way, you are in luck. In Lagos, you can, for an Uber, pay Uber ride with cash. So to make cash payment from Uber, I just request a ride as usual and then select cash option at the bottom. Cash option wasn't available anywhere else, but they had to do it for Nigeria because they were listening to customer feedback. And now a lot of organizations, when they come to Nigeria, they also look for a way to include cash because they already know that it's a cash economy and we depend on being able to pay. So a lot of people choose cash as well. So this is a perfect example of Uber changing their product to suit the market, creating another product offering, and being able to have a new persona of persons that would ride on the app. Because we know that for Nigeria, I don't know what our percentage was, but a few years ago, we were, I think, over 80% that were unbanked, but I don't know what that statistic is today. So they were able to broaden the people that would use Uber because they introduced cash. All right, so for customer, the action is, okay, this is another from the Lean Startup, the book I love. Every activity that does not contribute to learning about customers is a form of waste. If you're not testing products with your customers, if you're not learning how your customers operate, you're wasting time because the customers are the ones that buy your product or service. Okay, so the action, I'm going to try and speed up. Create feedback loops with your customers. So this is the action that you need to take. Whether it's a form, whether it's to put on your Instagram page, how are we doing? There's something one company I'm consulting for we did is that we started going into the DMs of everybody that followed us and we just dropped a message and let us know how we're doing. And we got such amazing feedback from this activity. So you find the way you communicate with your customers and just send them a message. Look, I know you ordered for me a while back. What could I have done better? What could I start? What could I do? Did you like the product? And that's when they start talking. They'll be like, no, I liked it, but I loved it, but maybe, and this feedback will really, really help you improve your product and your delivery to your customers. Okay, so great product, positioned in the right market. We have customers that are fans, or in fact, if you don't want to do a fan, you can do a full-blown AC. They're talking about your product. They're happy. They're excited. You're constantly talking to them. And now you're trying to position your product through the sales process. And this one is a bit shorter because the work is in the products and in the customers. That's where the work is. So let's look at the sales part of the journey we're taking. And one of the things I always advise organizations to do is digital marketing. And you have offline and online sales. So offline sales are the things you do. Maybe if somebody walks into your store, If somebody has an event and you have a booth there, or you do an industry event, that's offline. But the thing now is digital marketing does both offline and online sales. So they will move people on foot to your store, and then they would also move people online to your online presence. So you're able to not only communicate your brand effectively, but most importantly, you are able to track the results. So when you do digital marketing, which is like Facebook, MailChimp newsletter, Instagram, people always think it's just ads, but it isn't just ads. There's something called the full funnel marketing approach. And that is from consideration, conversion, awareness, consideration, and conversion. So awareness is how aware are people of your brand? And then the next step is, when they want to buy something, do they consider your brand because they are aware of it? And then the third one is, do they then actually buy from your product because they were considering buying and they're aware of your brand? So that's what they call the marketing funnel. Digital marketing is a full funnel. It takes care of all these three very crucial steps. So what most people do is either they go and do a course or they go and outsource to somebody. I would advise that as a business owner, you should have at least the basic knowledge of digital marketing, so you can set your strategy based on what feedback you're getting from your customers, and also because of your type of product. And on to the next slide. One of the things I recommend is Google Digital Skills for Africa. It is completely free, and it will take you through something as simple as domain hosting, domain name, and all those kind of things, and then the different types of digital marketing platforms, the marketing funnel, and all of that, so that you will be able to now start thinking, the reason I am not selling as much is because people are not aware of my brand. So I want to invest more in making that my market I identified for my product, I want to make them aware of my brand. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. I think we can wrap up in the next few minutes. I will try and run through. This is the second thing. So remember, we're talking about sales now. So we're saying that for sales, you need to have leads coming in to your business, and you need those leads to come in from digital marketing, whether the leads go to your online presence or go to your offline presence. Now you need to automate your sales process. You need to be able to, when a lead comes in, you're able to know what to do with the lead. So say, for example, somebody reaches out to you in your DMs on Instagram, or somebody sends you an email. What happens next? Do you have to be physically in the DMs to be able to respond, or do you have to see the email? And there are two tools. I had hoped we would be able to go through it together, but I'm sure Dr. Amara will share the links with you, and then you'll be able to just go through and see whether that makes sense. Okay, so you capture leads, use templates. So for emails, there's a template we use. There's one company that has a lot of leads that come in from email. So what we did is that we have an automatic response, but the automatic response has frequently asked questions in the link, in the email, and then it has a discount code, which is great for customer excitement and loyalty. And then it now has, like, if the frequently asked questions, you check through and it doesn't respond, it doesn't answer your question, reply to this email and then we will respond. So the person doesn't need to respond on the first email. And we found that just from that thing, they had an increase in sales because people were using the discount code. The discount code will only be valid for a very short period. And then people were visiting the frequently asked questions page. So it reduced the amount of time they were spending responding to every single support query. Imagine leads coming in from support, right? So you need to be able to use a lot of templates. There's a site, it's called HubSpot. If you've heard of it, great. I use a lot of templates from HubSpot. HubSpot has contracts, email templates, Google Sheets, Excel sheets, budgeting. It has so many tools, and most of the tools are free. I would just recommend, if you don't have a CRM, don't sign up to the HubSpot CRM until you've evaluated it. So I'm talking about the tools, but there are paid services HubSpot has that are very, very good, but evaluate it to make sure that they make sense for your organization first. And then another tool that's really great is Calendly. So if you have another business, what we did was we set up 2 hours of support in a week. So customers could schedule 15-minute sessions to come in and talk to one of the founders. It increased sales so much because people felt they were part of the business. But we use Calendly. So Calendly allows the customers to go directly in and schedule the 15 minutes. So it was great because you didn't have to say, oh, when will you be free? Oh, I'll be free at 8. No, my time zone is GMT plus 7. What time will you be free? No, the person just goes in and schedules. This also helps you as well for sales meetings. If you want somebody wants to make a sale but has questions, you can use Calendly. And then process automations. So Dr. Mara, I think we can skip the next slide because it's HubSpot. The slide after that is Zapier. Yeah, okay, so Zapier is great. So Zapier can automate anything. You get a certain number of free automations a month. So if your automations are not too many, you can stay on the free plan for a while. And I'll give you an example of how I use this with a company. They wanted to sell, the person was an author and wanted to sell books. So what we did is, if you and it was the pre-order part, because we wanted to spend more time getting pre-orders, that you pay for the book before it comes out, so that you don't have problems of people sharing the free version and all of that. So once you indicated interest, Zapier would send you a form that you would fill. And then Zapier as well, once you fill the form, will send you a payment link. And then Zapier, once the payment link is you've paid, Zapier will send you the book. Like, for real. Of course, you couldn't access the book till it was live, but you had the link. Zapier did everything. So you can see on the right some of the things you can automate with Zapier. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Google. So if you have an event and your customers sign up for the event, Zapier can add them to the meeting invite, the Zoom meeting invite, and send them an email about the event. You don't have to do anything, because you want, the goal of sales is to make sure that the customer gets to product and gets to making a financial decision with as few steps as possible, with as few human interventions as possible. So I see it on WhatsApp, like somebody will send me a product and I will look at the product, I like it. And then I have to reach out to the person, how much is the product? The person will come back and say 12,500. And then I'll reach out and say, does it come in only one color? And the person will say, yes, it comes in 4 colors. Okay, can I see the colors? You know, by the time I get to, can I see the colors? Napa has left the chat too. Like, mentally, I've checked out. In fact, I started asking myself, will I use these shoes and go to heaven? Do I really need it? However, if I had made an inquiry and I get immediately in my email the different sizes, the different shapes, and I get a discount code, I'm placing that order. So you look through what you do more than once with a customer and see how to automate it, so that you can get your customer to a decision as quickly as possible. So Zapier is great. You can look through it. It has many, many, many possibilities. It integrates with Paystack for some of you that are on Paystack. So if a payment comes through, you can send a feedback form immediately afterwards with a thank you note, and then you can reach out to your customer later and say, did you like it? Remember, we want to make them full-blown air conditioners. Okay, so on to the next slide. Guys, I'm wrapping up. So there are 2 things, again, that I want to mention with sales. We're now in the sales part. So we've spoken about digital marketing to generate leads. Leads are coming through. Then we've spoken about automation to make sure those leads are being addressed. Now, when you have the sale, always upsell. Choose the right upsell. So if I'm coming to you and I bought hair products and you have these unique hair combs, add it and say upsell. How many of you have ever gone to Amazon.com and when you've placed an order, they'll say, customers frequently buy this together? That is an upsell. Jumia does it as well. They'll say that most customers, after buying this, buy this, or we recommend. It's an upsell. So you as well, look through your product list. If you have one product, it's fine. And we're going to address that in the next slide. But if you don't have, look for how to upsell. If you have more than one product. My customer that likes this, will they like that? It always puzzles me when a customer has 15 products, you only sold me one and you're happy. No, now I bought one, I can buy on top. Give me a discount, right? So always offer an upsell. Always. Amazon always offers an upsell. Jumia always offers an upsell. iTunes, haven't you noticed the biggest brands always offer an upsell? Google will say, oh, have you tried this other ad? Have you used slides? Have you upsell? Always, always upsell. Yeah. Don't be pushy. Your customer may reject the upsell. It's fine. Feedback. Why don't you want to say it increased my cost? You know, just that small question. You'll be like, it increased your cost. No. What hair products? Don't come and upsell car washer for me. It has to be relevant. And then personalize your upsell. Okay, and then use urgency. So this is usually the case where you say, if you buy in 1 week, if you buy in 24 hours, this is when you'll be able to get 50% on your upsell. All right, so let's move to the next slide. And this is for people that have only one product. And this is what we call the cross-sell. So again, Uber has featured a lot. So Uber has to give me something for all this promotion. Let me go and say that I should be an ambassador, an Uber ambassador. So Uber again. Let's continue. I hope you guys can still hear me. Okay. All right. So Uber again. Let's go to the next slide. Uber Eats. So for example, Uber Eats. I'm sorry. Dr. Amara, yeah, this is the right slide. Try to cross-sell. So you offer additional services. This is where partnerships come in. So if you sell wigs, you can cross-sell with somebody that sells products for wigs. Maybe you don't sell it, but that cross-sell is usually a complementary item. It doesn't have to be you that provides it, a complementary item, and you bundle it together, and it's able to check. So if somebody buys wigs, and this is where digital marketing is great, because digital marketing is able to kind of see how the person buys. If the person buys wigs and buys hair products, you're able to say, I have a friend that does hair products, let me bundle it together. If you have an e-commerce platform and people are using Stripe to make purchases, you can say, if you make a purchase on my platform with Stripe, you get 5% off. How many of you have seen this cross-sell? Two complementary services that necessarily don't belong to the same, you cross-sell. So this is how you can also increase your sales. But see, the great thing about this cross-sell is that it exposes you to a new set of clients and customers that you can add to your list. It's so amazing. So the person that was there selling, that uses Stripe, you have access to all the people that use Stripe that are in your market, plus your own customers. You're bringing them into your net. So try to cross-sell. And if you notice the difference in the language, I said always upsell, but try to cross-sell, because the cross-sell sometimes is not in your control. And an example here is Uber Eats. And even though Uber Eats is something that we use for transportation, they added it. So you'll see that when you order a car, they will say that, have you ordered your food yet? Try and order. We're giving you a 20% discount. That's a cross-sell. Because really, the person that's ordering Uber Eats is not really the one ordering transportation, but you cross-sold. Another thing is, if you go to, I think Uber and Marriott, the hotel, are having a joint program now that if you stay at the Marriott, if you use an Uber to get to the Marriott, you get points in the Marriott. That's a cross-sell. So what Marriott is saying is, if you're coming to the Marriott, use an Uber, because we're going to give you points to add to your account with us, so you can use it in the future stay. Of course, you use Uber, but what it does for Uber is it gives Uber a new set of clients. And then Uber will also say, do you know, if you use an Uber, you can stay at a Marriott and get points. Cross-sell. So try and cross-sell, look for partnerships. Dr. Amara, the next slide. I'm really trying to rush through. There's channels, there's only one more slide. So try and cross-sell. I don't know what the next slide is.
I wanted to give an example as well, if I may. Is that okay?
Oh, sure. Oh,
okay.
Of course.
So you gave a very good example about Uber, but we even find some public sector organizations, for example, like the post office, the postal services in the UK, now beginning to offer to drop off people's prescription from the pharmacy as part of the service for free. So you don't have to make the journey, just, use the app, let them know, and they're going to make the drop off at your home address.
Do you see? So it's available to, so exactly, this is the example. So those are the kind of cross-sell opportunities you would think of. Do you see what Dr. Amara gave an example? The two organizations don't look like they fit, but they're able to find a way to expose each other to their customers. So look for those cross-sell opportunities. Now, action for you, take action. The first thing is optimize your sales process. Look for anything. It could be one thing that you do once or twice. You do more than once with several customers. Try and see if you can use a template, an automation, something to make it easier for your customer to get to the sale, to close out. And then create a customer loyalty program. This is not a hard thing at all. You just need a piece of paper and say, for any customer that buys 1 million naira, 500K, 2,000 naira, I'm going to give them 10% off their next order. So then you go through your customer, because I hope you've been keeping data of your customers and then you send them an email. I'm launching my customer program, or use this discount code, or call me if you can't do a discount code, right? Then create upsell and cross-sell opportunities. If you can do one of each, one upsell and one cross-sell, just look at your products and see how you can make that happen, okay? All right, so we're on the last part now. Again, I'm going through again. Great product, perfect fit for the product. Customers are full-blown fans. They're very excited. They're very happy. You've automated your sales. You've gotten a lot of leads. You're doing cross-sell, upsell opportunities. Now, how do you sell? Where do you sell to your customers? And there's so many, if you go to the next slide, we'll see that there's so many channels that are available now. You all know this as business owners. Mobile, email, social media, video, web, chat, phone, survey, buildings. Your consumers are everywhere. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming. But this is how to get this kind of thing done. The next slide. The first thing is you sell where your customers are. There was somebody that told me that should she create offline products for her e-commerce store. I said, why is there an E inside the commerce? So if it's e-commerce, are your customers not online? Do you see? So even though you may have some offline activities as part of your marketing campaign, but your customers are online. So you sell where your customers are. I've seen that women of a certain age buying a certain product do better on WhatsApp than they do on Instagram. So when I see people trying to sell to women in their 50s or 60s, yes, some of them are on Instagram, some on Facebook, some on TikTok or Snapchat, but majority of them are on WhatsApp and Facebook. So you have to sell where your customers are. If you're selling car tires, you don't go and sell your car tires close to ice cream factory, for example. Do you understand? Unless you're wishing people that every time you buy ice cream, your tire will explode. I don't know. But you will look for where your customers are. So don't sell where your customers don't visit, right? And this is where digital marketing is fantastic, because when you start at the top of the marketing funnel, awareness, you're able to start getting to know your customers. Where do they go? Where do they visit? Where are they? What are the kind of things they like to do? Number two, balance and align. This is something I see when you have multiple channels, is that your price on WhatsApp is 12,500 or 1.2 million, and your price on Instagram is 900,000. Don't do that. Your price should be the same across all platforms, unless you're opening a new channel and you want people to use it. So you say a discount on the standard price. You have to make sure the same price and features are across all the platforms. And then build relationships and constantly improve. So what I would advise is, whatever channel you're selling through now, whether it's an e-commerce platform, WhatsApp, your phone, online, offline, wherever, optimize that channel. All the things we said about sales, automating the process, getting your customers happy, all of that. And then look for the new channel where you think your customers might be, and try and test and sell there. And if you see traction, then optimize that channel and then move it and then add another channel. So moving to the last slide, it's taking action on your channels. Add one new sales channel to your current business. Let's just test it and see whether you can do something here. And then start building a relationship with a company or an individual to explore a cross-sell opportunity. So think through, is there any way, any cross-sell that exists that I can leverage? Reach out to the person and say, do you mind if we do a campaign together? Or reach out to the company, can we do a campaign? And if you get a no, just keep going. You're going to hit one that you can test and see how to potentially partner. So I know this was really long, a little, just like 4 minutes above an hour, Dr. Amara, but I think we can go to the last slide and take any questions. I know it's really late for some of you that are in Nigeria, but if there are any questions, we can take questions now.
Wow. Wow, wow. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, you have really simplified the whole conversation today. I don't know, you actually prepared for them, but I think I personally took a lot of lessons from what you've just shared today. A lot is around upselling and cross-selling and seeking out opportunities, because sometimes we as business owners, we're just very comfortable in our own space, in our own zone, and we feel that the business is about me. I don't want somebody to steal my idea. I want to protect it like a child, and not knowing that, you know, there are opportunities for collaborative work out there. And I think this is something that small business owners need to really, really get their mind into. How can I potentially, you know, get into business with someone else by cross-selling product, and also thinking more creatively, because you just give an example of Uber. So it might not just be in your own space as somebody who sells hair, or somebody in a food or retail or whatever it is your business is, but how can I collaborate and, you know, open up some channels in that way, really. So thank you. I mean, there's so many people raving on the chat. Ayodele is saying, thank you for this. Chiamaka is saying, thank you so very much. Really insightful session. Collaboration is very, very important. Yes. Do you have any questions, guys? Do you have any questions? I think my own question for you, Napa, is the fact that sometimes people find it difficult to automate. And I think it's just down to the mindsets that you have to make the effort to do things, you know, the traditional way. So, you know, how can you someone who is thinking of automating, what would you say would be the simplest way to begin? Because I've seen a lot of business owners that haven't been able to capture the data of their customers. They don't know how many customers bought from them in a certain month. They haven't been able to make any projection because they don't have those figures, and they are hoping to be successful because they have cash flow. But again, I say cash flow is different, because what you have now as cash is not your profit. It's gross, but it's not the profit after you take out all these others. So I don't know if you can speak to that question, please.
Yeah, and you're right. You know, it's frightening. I know I can talk about automation with technology because I'm very comfortable with technology. But like when it comes to finance, I'm like, and I had to learn, right? I had to learn how to understand how to move money around and what was my profit and what was my revenue. But this is my advice. My advice is start with one thing. Don't try and automate everything, because that's where the frustration sets in. Start with one thing. So if you want right? You can start with Excel and you can just put the name of the customer, their contact details. Go to HubSpot. HubSpot has some of those easy templates. So you can start with one thing. You can start with responding with an automated message to customers. And it's very easy. If you use Gmail, it's an out of office. Isn't it funny that it's literally an out of office? So you just set an out of office and you put a nice tag and say that, look, I know this is an automated email, but there's a human being behind it. I just want you to know that your email is very important to us. If you can go through our FAQs, you can just put a link. FAQ can be Google Doc. If you have any questions, you know, that's a support email. If a customer reaches out to DM, in Instagram, we have all these short codes you can use to put a full-blown text. If you do hashtag #thank you. I don't know if anybody knows this. Maybe you can explain better. Thank you. It will produce a whole text and say, thank you so much for shopping with us. We would really appreciate your feedback. Fill this form. That's automation. Automation is just simplifying a task, quick replies. Thank you, Olufoke. That's an automation. So choose one thing, automate it, test it, see, and then choose another thing. And then don't think automation is a huge, big thing. Oh yeah, does anybody know about the code share? Because that thing is live, it's time saving. And quickly you're able to share your products. You're quickly able to share thank you messages, feedback forms. So imagine if you have 20 and you bought all those things you've done, put it in a document. So when a new person comes to join your team, you're able to share that document with the person. So they don't start asking you, what is the short code reply for feedback? What is the short code reply for 10? So those are that's a simple automation, right? Replying on email out of office. So you can see, guys, that the automation is not a hard thing. It's just knowing it. But don't start from trying to know the automation. Look at what do I want to make easier? Then go to YouTube and just say, I use, for example, quick replies to customers on Instagram, or go to Google and you see somebody that has a suggestion, try it. If it works for you, keep it. And then go to the next one, things like that. That's how I advise. It's one at a time, over time. And then after you've done this deliberately for 6 months, you find your whole business suddenly is running much smoothly, much quicker, ease of access. Customers are enjoying engaging with your organization much better. You're able to hire people because a lot is automated. That's just my advice.
Fantastic. Thank you for that advice, because a lot of us trivialize what's actually out there for free. And sometimes people want to pay a huge sum of money for something that's possibly, like you just said, you can just get it on YouTube or just do a Google search and everything is right there. Not sure, does anyone have any other questions? Please, if you would want to unmute yourself, or if you want to put it on the chat. Any more questions, please? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback. So people don't have any more questions.
Is there feedback?
Well, it's basically what you've done and how you've done it. So thank you so much, Napa, for today. I understand that you had a very long haul flight and you still made it to this session today. So thank you so much. I would let you go now, and I would catch up with you later on. Have an amazing evening.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to take the question. Oh, the recording. Yes, the recording is there. I'm going to send out the link to you all. So don't worry. You're definitely going to have the recording. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to say very big thank you to everyone who prioritized today's session. I hope you kind of took value from it. I hope you found it useful. And something that you can actually take on and implement in your business going forward, considering that the year is sort of like beginning to wind down now. So this gives you like an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and recalibrate your plans for the next year. Really, really important. I personally took a lot of value from this. It's not just for you guys. I personally took a lot of value from it. And I want to say thank you very much for coming. I'll definitely share the recording with everybody. So don't worry, I'll do that. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, because it's on there, Amigrace Foundation, you can find all of this there. So please do. Okay, I look forward to seeing you and hearing. And please, guys, feel free to share your success stories. Share your success stories with us. Amigrace would be very, 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 very pleased to hear how you're getting on with your business. We are also looking out, as part of our launch for the 2023. We are looking out for possible collaboration. Okay, especially for projects. So guys, this is something that you might need to think about in terms of your business and how you might want to collaborate with us. So it's been amazing. I wouldn't want to keep you guys anymore. Thank you so much and have a lovely